Hello friends, good morning. I'm today going to give a talk on Abdul Kalam. You know, he was a great scientist and a great human being also. His contribution to the society, to India, is immense. So I'll give a brief overview of his work through a PowerPoint presentation. Let me come to that presentation now. Okay, you see, the title of this talk I have given Socio-Scientific Contribution of Dr. P J Abdul Kalam, who is very popularly known as the Missile Man of India. This talk I had given actually long back in an invited talk organized by Odisha Sanskritik Samaj, Sambalpur, Odisha, on the birthday or birth anniversary of Dr. Kalam. So, and I dedicate this talk to my students who are preparing for various exams. A lot of questions may come for their general science part or general knowledge part from this talk. Okay, and obviously this is a best compliment from our university, GM University, Gangadhar Meher University, Sambalpur, Odisha. Dr. Kalam was born in a very poor background, as you can see. In one side, in the top of this slide, you can see the figure. It is the native home of Dr. Kalam when he was young. Sir, good time in the presentation of no huh? Okay, so so he born on 15th October 1931 at Rameswaram, Tamil Nadu. His father's name was Janala Buddin, who was a boat owner as well as an imam. Probably you know, imam is a kind of priest for the Muslim religion. And his mother, Asima, was a housewife. And he was the youngest of four brothers and sisters. You see, very often we feel that a struggling condition or a poor background prohibit us to do the better things. Okay, but this is not the case for the great persons. The great persons used to do the better things because of the struggling situation they do have. They used to take the situation or the disadvantage or limitation into challenges, and they try to overcome. And these challenges are the really challenges of for millions of people. And when one can overcome that, then he set an example for millions. Okay, so that was the kind of person Dr. Abdul Kalam. Just see about his childhood. Okay, before going to his childhood, I would like to say something about his birth place. He born on, as I told you here, Rameswaram. Rameswaram is a very famous place. Probably you know from the Hindu mythology. It is the place where the Sri Ram has built a setu, a bridge, to go to Sri Lanka to rescue his wife, goddess Sita. Okay, and the existence of this, although it's a mythology, but the modern science and technology even believe that it was really there was really one setu starting from uh, Rameswaram to Sri Lanka, and that is the place from where the distance between the India and Sri Lanka is least. Okay, about 30 kilometers, as you can see in the top figure. Now this satellite image which is given below also confirm that, and the location of Rameswaram is in the shown in the Google map here, you can see. Okay, it's a very famous place. Okay, and from this famous place only he has born. So obviously it was destined to do something famous or something very very big, and that really happened. And now, as I told you, his struggling time or his childhood time was really very struggling, and he really worked hard to overcome that. You can see this slide here. The first slide shows Dr. Kalam in young age distributing the newspapers to support his family economy, because I told you their family is very poor, was very poor, and he had to, therefore he had to do many things along with other siblings also. One of the such job is the distributing the newspaper in the very young age. Now I can ask the audience, how many children of this of these ages, or from the good or the light background, or they are, or maybe from middle class background, they are allowing their kids to distribute the newspaper. We as a parent, we feel we should not give any such work to the children because it will hamper their education. But in one way it is not true. Just see, when Kalam was given such a job, or he not given, he had taken such a job, he basically did it to just give the economic support to the family. But on this, at the same front, what he was doing while distributing, anywhere, or before distributing, or during the time of distribution of the newspaper, he was reading all the news. Okay, that means he was getting award about, he was becoming a award means some knowledgeable person. He was getting the awareness about the event going on around him. And you see the very less number of kids or children nowadays also do not read the newspaper daily, but you see, he was reading the newspaper daily. That was the advantage he was getting from this difficult situation. He was getting more learned, he was getting more award. Now come to the middle figure here. As I told you, his father was a boat owner, and very often when Dr. Kalam was doing VSc with physics honors at St. Joseph College, Tiruchirappalli, very often he was taking the boat and taking the visitors in place of his father to a nearby place, okay, called Dhanushkodi. Dhanushkodi is a place in between Rameswaram and the place that I have shown in the Sri Lanka. In between, somewhere in this Ramasetu bridge, the Dhanushkodi was there, and still there. But at that time, it was a famous Hindu pilgrimage, Hindu holy place. So many visitors were going to that place through boat, and whenever it was needed, or whenever his father was not feeling well, also in some other occasion also, he is very often taking the boats along with all the visitors to that place. And when the visitors, we are visiting that Dhanushkori place, he was sitting alone on the boat and he was reading the books or other articles. Now you see, you can ask me what is the advantage he was getting and what was his disadvantage. Obviously disadvantage was that during the time of his education he was forced to do the work to earn something. There was no other option. He has to work. Okay, but at the same time, what he was gaining, just see, when he was going to deep into the sea, to that location, that was a really isolated place. He was getting a calm, quiet place, and the visitors were taking few hours to visit that place, and he was sitting for hours and hours there reading his books or other articles. Now you see, getting such a quiet environment now it is also very difficult at this point of time. You even if by paying lot of money also you cannot get such a cool environment to read your books sometimes. So, but he was getting and he was taking that advantage. He was converting that disadvantage into a advantage one. Okay, he was really getting more learned and more knowledgeable. He was getting plenty of time to think, because a loneliness, when he was sitting alone, he was thinking about various things. So this thought process had later made him a great person, as you know. Now you see, after his BSc, he did the BTech in aerospace engineering at Madras Institute of Technology in 1960. From the very childhood, because he belongs to a seashore, he was very much fascinated about flying the flying of birds over the in the sky. So he was very much fascinated towards the aerospace engineering. So immediately after the BSc, he completed. After he completed BSc, he joined the BTech program in aerospace engineering. So there also he had to do lot of hard struggle, because he was a good student and he got a scholarship. And you know, when a student get scholarship or teaching assistantship, then teachers used to give some additional tasks, and exactly that was happening. They, in one way, it was a disadvantage that he was spending some of his time for doing the other tasks other than his study, but it was an advantage for him, because you see, while doing the other things, he was improving his knowledge. You see, by only studying the book or studying your syllabus will not be good enough. You have to apply it somewhere. So you will apply it. So through that other assignment given by the faculty member of MIT, he was doing the other works, and he was learning, not only learning more in compared to the other students who are only plain simply reading. He was not only earning the knowledge, but also he was earning some more money. Nowadays, this practice is very common. Probably you know, all the students who are going to Premier Institute of India like IIT, IMS, or who are going to Premier Institute of abroad, they used to ask for, they are sometimes dying for getting the teaching assistantship, because that teaching assistantship give them a good financial support for continuing their education and support their livings there. So now you see, at that time, during the BTech time, so he had to do the other additional work, but that was again an advantage for him because he was learning more than his peers. Okay, so you can see one of the quote of Dean MIT of that time. He said, I was putting you under stress and asking you to meet a difficult deadline. Okay, so later on when he was saying talking to Kalam, he told that he felt sorry that he was putting him under a lot of stress and asking difficult things to meet or to do, but that difficulty made him a really strong man, because life is full of difficulty, and you see, once you overcome one difficulty, you will go to a higher level in your status. So now you can see, more the difficult that you face, probably more the status you can gain in your life. So so you see, during his study time also, he was learning how to meet the deadlines or how to handle the difficulty smoothly. So that was then the advantage he got from his struggle period, or from his difficult moment. So just citing all those things, I would like to say that I can give you one example, that generally natural diamond is created in extremely high condition of pressure and temperature. Probably you know diamond is a form of carbon. Carbon means coil in Hindi koila. Okay, you see it's black, but when it get extremely high condition of pressure and temperature down the earth, then it got, that means in an extreme difficult condition, it turned into a diamond. Okay, similarly I believe that if you can handle the difficulty well, then you can turn into diamond. Okay, with this I like to finish the first part of this talk. The next part I'll start soon. So this one I'm going to share with all of you. Hope you can learn something. Wait for my next video on the second part of this. Thank you.